Hello, Internet. Welcome to another episode of Fighting the Void. It's me, Ginger, here back again. I'm without Crystal. She is traveling right now, and I forgot to turn off the video so you can hear me twice. I hate it when I do that. I just got to find it a minute. Dang it. I hate it when I do that. There. Okay, much better. So, sorry about those technical difficulties.
We don't need two hosts.
No, especially when they're saying the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, you and Crystal work great, but
Yeah, me twice. I don't know how many people could really handle that. So anyway, before I started interrupting myself, Crystal is busy traveling right now. She'll be out for at least a couple of weeks, I think. So, but in the meantime, I have the lovely Blindfolded Bethany with me here to talk about some of the stuff that she's been getting into lately, and maybe revisiting some stories of the past, and what happens on a college campus when Donald Trump gets elected president. So we're going to get to all of that and probably a little bit more as we go through the hour here. And you can find Bethany on Twitter at Not Blindfolded.
Yeah,
so she's blindfolded.
Right.
She's not blindfolded. The handle is at Not Blindfolded on the Twitters. And is there anywhere else where people can find you, Bethany?
Not really. The whole Not Blindfolded thing was going to be part of a YouTube channel that I never went through with. So when I went to Twitter, I was just like, well, if I ever do anything with YouTube, I'll just keep that. But
that makes perfect sense. You'll want to just go ahead and keep the handle.
It's called Peeking Under the Blindfold. So
right.
That was the only thing that fit for the handle.
Well, it works. It does work out well. And
narcissistic. I'm not the only person who's not blindfolded. So
but you are less blindfolded than average.
Yay.
Okay, so as always, if anyone would like to comment, ask questions in the chat, please feel free to do so. Or, of course, you can also just go ahead and address the show directly at Fighting Void on Twitter. So, Bethany, let's go ahead and get into it. What inspired me to contact you for the show was you posted that you were looking at getting involved in local politics. So one, I guess, in what capacity and what inspired you to do that?
Well, there's obviously always you can criticize all you want, but and I love politics. This is something that I've always enjoyed, but it's kind of hypocritical if you say, well, I hate that they're doing this and I hate that they're doing this, but I'm not doing anything about it. So, I mean, and that's just one of the things that really fires me up. It's ridiculously nerdy.
So, but you want to put your money where your mouth is. You're like,
yeah.
Like the young idealist.
Yeah.
I like it. Now, was there a particular issue that got you that got you motivated to start looking into the political realm? Or
oh no, like if you look at my veins, my blood runs red, white, and blue. My dad, he would just go into like socialism and talking about taxes and try to explain it to us as kids. Just really, that was something he's passionate about too, although he never went into that. And it was just something that always really fired me up and was always so interesting to look into. I love this is going to sound weird for me. I love conflict. I love discussing things that people disagree on. And so obviously politics, all you have to say is Trump, and you have so many different opinions, all very strong opinions, but you can get into like, oh, well, what is moral and what isn't moral and what's appropriate for a president to be. What is a president? And like you can get into all of these really complex, interesting issues
Hmm.
just by sparking a question. And so
Yeah,
you can learn a lot by saying something that can be a little offensive and have
yeah,
someone who's willing to talk about it with you.
yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Now, have you found that finding someone to talk about it with you, someone willing to have an actual honest debate? How's that
Yes.
working out?
Well, as you may have realized, it's very difficult to find a liberal who's like, yeah, I want to talk about complex issues with you. I don't know. I mean, I'm probably biased, but I feel like liberals are not the ones to be like, yeah, I want to talk about all this stuff. They're the ones who say, no, stop. This is my right. This is my privilege. You're hate speech. I can't stand talking to you. You're just a hateful, bigoted person, racist, homophobe. Let's just, all the labels. Let's go down the list. And it's just like, that's not a discussion.
Yeah, I hear you.
But I've had conversations with a couple of people.
Mhm.
My grandparents actually,
Okay.
uh, might this you might
Family
find hilarious.
conflict.
Um, I have my Republican grandparents and I have my Democrat grandparents, and they're both very strong on these issues, and they're neighbors,
Oh, wow.
and they're
No
very
kidding.
good friends. And so they talk. My grandfathers will go at it with each other, and it's honestly hilarious.
Oh my gosh, I would actually love to be a fly on the wall of that kind of conversation. Two curmudgeonly
Oh,
old guys going at. I'm assuming they're curmudgeonly because they're old guys. And
yeah, it's great. I mean, the happiest I've ever seen my Republican grandparents is when they're holding each other. They have a picture of them holding each other in front of a great big oak tree in their yard with a Trump Pence sign right in front of them.
oh my goodness.
It's hilarious. Well, anyway, my grandpa on my dad's side is a hardcore Democrat, and and my grandma is too. And
Uh-huh.
so I had a job out that way for a while, and so every once in a while, after work, I would come over, and sometimes they usually pressure me into dinner, but we would have some really great conversations. I learned some things, and I think I shocked them with some things like the transgender stuff. They had no idea that was going on, of course. Um,
You know, I wonder, do you think a big part of the reason, well, I'm not quite sure how to word this, but do you find that a lot of liberals actually aren't aware of just how nutty
oh,
some of the fringes of their movement really are?
it was so funny because I've talked with them and they're like, well, see, we are Democrats, but the one thing that we disagree, we believe abortion is wrong. And I'm like,
Okay.
okay,
Well,
you're not even in libertarian territory here. Like you're this is a reason a lot of people are Republicans or conservatives because that's a really big issue. So,
I think there's a fair, I suspect anyway, I
mhm.
suspect that there's a fair number of Democrats, like just, the average person that doesn't, pay much attention to the news or anything like that. The average Democrat who actually is, if not 100% pro-life, certainly not 100% pro-abortion either. And but they tend to vote Democrat because they don't really realize how extreme the party is on that issue.
It's honestly like we all say, it's the media. And I had one time I was door knocking. I've only been door knocking once. So I went door knocking for somebody. It's the best time ever. Had, and I stopped at this one place. We talked for at least half an hour. Um, Not
Wow,
even joking.
no kidding.
Yeah, it was, I, we were supposed to be wrapping up because and so we stopped at this one place and we were just talking. The first thing they were like, you know, we liked uh, we just don't like Trump, but Kasich, on the other hand, he was a great guy. And I'm like, there is something seriously wrong with you. I didn't say that. What I said
Right.
was, I hear you have your TV on in your living room.
Okay.
As they were talking with me, these
Hmm.
are people who watch TV. And when
Yeah.
you watch TV,
Hmm.
there's, it doesn't matter where you were before, you adopt those views. And it's a really
Yeah.
weird phenomenon right now, just because um, we're coming out of an age where TV was our culture.
Hmm.
And now
Yeah.
we're coming into an age where social media is our culture.
Yes.
The left, of course, is dominating both of those things. They're also dominating, of course, Hollywood.
Hmm.
Um, it's it's a weird time because we're opening up to alternative media. Like, you guys are doing a great job over here. Uh, it's a weird time, but it's a really, really good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know that that the right, the especially the conservatarian, is definitely having an impact in the social media world, doing the alternative media thing because they're getting so they're getting so ban happy, or YouTube with the strikes and the demonetizations and all of that, to the extent that they're catching completely unrelated things in their algorithms. Like I know one guy who runs a channel primarily dedicated to Lord of the Rings online, and he's gotten caught in the algorithms a couple of times. He has nothing remotely political on his channel, whatever, but it's sometimes catches the violence algorithms, um, and it's also because of those things. It's one of the reasons why, in a way, I'm glad that I started doing this so much later in life, because I've got a full-time job and everything. I'm not counting on this for money. it's I don't have to worry about that at all with this. YouTube can monetize, demonetize, strike all they want. I don't care. I'm in no way
Make sure
dependent
you
on this
have all the
whatsoever.
copies of every show backed up on your computer.
There is that. There is that. It could it could suddenly just disappear one day. I don't think we're quite above their pay attention to thresholds yet, but we'll get there.
Ah, you
But
never know.
and that's true. That's true. Twitter
I
seems to pay an unusual amount of
I do
attention to like some very small accounts.
I have kind of a weird take on that whole thing. There really I think there is very, very, very minimal review, like way less than we would like to think. Because we
Hmm.
like to think of a just system, of a system where there's like at least one person who's really looking at this, a
Hmm.
human being. I really don't think that's the case. I think these are I
Yeah.
think most of it is just automatic, like just and people don't realize, oh, when I say I don't like that, they're taking that down and they don't understand the consequences of that. So that's like um uh uh Uncle Joe comes on, and he's kind of new to YouTube or Twitter or whatever, and he's like, well, that's rude, and what's this do? Or a 14-year-old girl who's just like uh high anxiety, and was like, that that's really not appropriate.
Hmm.
And um that can be something, they don't know what they're doing.
I think there's definitely some truth to that. I think not that's not without merit.
Yeah,
That perspective there. I
it's
I think
true, they
I'm sure
are
that's part of it.
ultimately corrupt.
Oh
I
yeah,
will say that
yeah,
they're
absolutely.
definitely messed up.
But getting back to the getting back
Okay.
to the local
Getting
politics
back,
angle. One, what is it you're looking to do
reeling in
in the local
the
politics realm? What's that?
hmm I'm not sure yet. I have someone who uh I met somebody, and she like
Hmm.
immediately took me under her wing. Unfortunately, the
Nice.
day I was coming back from the county convention, my car broke down. And so I need to figure out how to get that fixed.
Yeah,
as soon as I can.
so you can get
I've
out
got
there and
everything
yeah,
lined up. It's been crazy. Anyway,
no, yeah,
so,
because you're in school and everything, and it's busy.
yeah, it's it's weird. Anyway, uh,
Now, what do you see as important? Why bother with local politics at all? Why does it matter when everything seems to be a national issue these days?
oh my goodness, it's everything. I mean, you could say like, well, abortion should be good for everybody. It's like you can't have a national platform. You don't get a national platform. You have to work with what you've got.
Hmm.
And that's something that's almost kind of a Jordan Peterson thing,
Right.
put your house in order before you criticize the world. It's like, get your hometown straight before you start criticizing America as a whole. Like um you can start criticizing things get rid of anyway. Now I'm getting biblical.
That's okay. This is a
Well,
place
I
where you
was
can do that.
it doesn't quite line up, but like, get rid of the plank in your own eye and then start criticizing the speck in Donald Trump's eye, which there's there's a lot of things, but
Let's face it, Trump's got a plank too. Let's be honest here.
he's honestly okay. I won't I'll stay away from it. I will just say there's a lot of things he's doing great, and there's a lot of things that make me cringe a little tiny bit inside.
Just a little bit.
little little tiny bit.
Well, speaking of the good things, he actually just announced that he's going to remove 60 million from Planned Parenthood's funding again.
That is awesome.
That's good. He did the same thing last year, I believe. So apparently, this is something that he has to like do specifically every year, so long as he's still signing bills that give it 500 million. Uh, I was like, which incidentally, that I was thinking about it. Oh, yeah, so I know the answer to I know the answer to one of the questions that I had because I was at the March for Life rally this past January, and one of the things he did a pre-taped message, and he said he wasn't going to sign any uh, any pro-abortion bills that come across his desk. So I was like, well, okay, I'm right away I'm thinking, okay, how far does that go?
Yeah.
What does that extend to? Does that mean no funding for Planned Parenthood? Is that what that means? No, that's not what that means because he signed a bill that gave it 500 million. But he's taken away 60 of it. So that's still better than anyone else has done.
Yeah. That's great.
It's a start.
Yeah.
I want more. I want the other 440, but I'll take the 60 for now. But yes, let's eat all of it. But so are you perhaps going to back to why local politics is important in the first place? One is like you said, straighten up your own area before you start worrying about everybody else. Now, what can you actually though accomplish on like a local like a township level or a county level, since you mentioned county convention?
Well, I would really like to get into things that have to do more with conveying information, basically,
Okay.
because the way the Republican Party and conservatives uh, put themselves out there
Mm-hmm.
is terrible because
Yes.
they're, you know, just to give an example, Ben Shapiro's famous line of facts don't care about your feelings.
Right.
That is true, and that is awesome, and that's great, but feelings don't care about your facts.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
when you can say that thing is bad for you and it will kill you, but if you're like, but I really want that right now, guess what? People are going to have it anyway. It's like you have to sell it to them better than that. You can't
Yeah.
just say smoking is bad for you. It will give you cancer and you'll die and it's terrible. You have to really invest in it. And so that's
Mhm.
something liberals are excellent
Yeah.
at making. I mean, for goodness sake, these are the people going to Hollywood. These are the people who are, going into media. They know how to present well. I've taken some creative nonfiction classes,
Hmm.
which sounds like an unusual thing. It's like, wait, how how does that really work? And then there's a lot of things where it's like, well, where do you draw the line for like what's true and what's not true? Because they didn't strictly say that thing. You can't recall exactly what they said. You're making up lines. But
Right.
which actually that was an incredibly enlightening class, like to see where like this is journalism now.
Oh
um
yeah, yeah. Where they're just literally people are like, I didn't say that. That's, that's
yeah,
not,
what is the
those are not the words that I said at all.
what was that thing, what did they say now, like it's not factually true, but it's the right narrative.
Right,
It's
right, right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
The
and I
the
get how
the
I
AOC
understand
quote.
what that means. I
Yeah,
understand what that means, but obviously you can take that too far. You can always take that too far.
you
And when
can
it's a heated
easily
issue,
take that too
you
far.
will
Yes.
definitely take that too far.
Hmm.
Um, but that's something, we need more people doing that sort of thing. We need more people in like graphic design. There was a guy at one of the political meets, the local political meets, who was like, "Oh yeah, I used to work for Rand Paul." And we went around handing out 2 hour, or some people were going around going door to door handing out 2 hour long DVDs about what Rand Paul stands for. And I was like, that is stupid. That
Yes. Yes.
that is you can't there is not a single that's a waste of resources. There's not a single person who will put that in. You'll be lucky if your grandmother looks at it, if your mother looks at it.
Hmm.
No one. Like, especially if you're trying to get someone to vote for you. The people who are on the fence are not going to watch that. The people
No.
who do watch it might change their mind. I mean, that's just terrible.
No, yeah, I'm sure there were people who like, you thought this was a good idea?
Yeah.
No, I'm
Um
not voting for you.
I did actually have the woman that has now taken me under her wing.
Hmm.
She is awesome. Okay, I met her during the 20 I didn't know I met her, but I met her during the 2016 debates. Um, she organized a thing where they showed the debates at the theater
Hmm.
and invited people to come for free tickets and have free popcorn. And so like my whole family went because we're all obsessed with politics. And um we are. And we one time we brought some friends.
Hmm.
It was great. I mean, you think sports. um it is amazing to be sitting in a room with dozens of people cheering and booing as like people say dumb things or really awesome things. Like okay, I can see how people can get swept up in
Hmm.
something where Hillary's rambling on, and then Trump just goes, "Make America great again." And like, this is what we needed to hear. And so it's like, oh yeah, I see now how you can say that in the right setting, and it's huge. It's
Right.
And that's just something that we've lost sight of. So I love this woman. I'm so happy that she's showing me all her tricks, and I'm hopefully going to be helping her with more things. So
Awesome. So
uh,
do you have ambitions yourself down the line?
I have no idea. Um,
Okay. Fair enough.
it was kind of funny. She was introducing me to every single person that she came across, and
Hmm.
someone said, so what are you planning to do? Are you going to be a delegate? And she goes, yes, she is. I'm like, oh, that's
I
news to me.
am.
So I have no idea. Um,
You know, for anyone thinking about it, though, I mean, delegate is definitely the way to get started
I
because
mean, oh my goodness, we had people. I almost went as a fill-in delegate because we didn't have enough people who showed up
right.
and go to Lansing or whatever. And but I had work both days, so I couldn't do
Hmm.
it. But it was like this is where we're needed. We're not necessarily needed at the national level. There's always someone who's begging for a position at the national level.
Right.
There's always someone who is, especially this early, obviously,
Mhm.
um, into politics, this new to politics. I mean, goodness, if you put me up there, I'd sound like AOC. It would be that stupid. I mean,
I
it would
seriously doubt
uh,
that.
uh, anyway, I'm
Maybe we
terrible at
wouldn't
economics.
put you in a high level cross examination just yet, but I'm pretty sure if you were given the soft pedal treatment that AOC gets, I think you would come off much
That's
better.
true. That's true. And that's the thing, though, is that's where conflict is great because you say like, oh, well, maybe we should just give people free stuff, and someone looks you dead in the eye and says, you're an idiot. And then you can talk about it.
Yeah,
And you
yeah,
say,
right.
so why am I an idiot? Well, that's not how it works. This is how things work. And
Yes,
uh
they always
can't
seem to.
there ain't no such thing as a free lunch. So,
Gosh, it reminds me of a book that actually I edited. It was
oh, that's
a very left wing book. I was like yeah, promoting like moneyless society and everything. And it was interesting because I did offer the guy. I was like, okay, here's what I'm going to do, pal. I'm going to give you like here's going to be some of the conservative critiques of your book. You know, I was like, you know, he's paying me to edit this, but I'm going to see if he's open to this angle. And he was, which was good. I don't think I changed his mind at all. But anyway, there was this part in it. It was clearly meant to be an analogy for how he thinks our economic system works. Talking about how there's like two guys who are just in a room, and out of one slot in the room comes like two meals every day or something like that. And he's like, well, it's like one guy hangs out by the slot and the other guy hangs out on the other side of the room.
oh
But
my gosh.
and the one guy is sleeping when the food comes, and the guy by the slot just like eats it all and never tells the other guy. It's like that's not how any of this works.
No, that's the guy sleeping, wakes up and goes, you ate my food. I'll just make myself some more food.
Right. It's like that's not how there isn't like just this literally a money tree that people are
Socialism.
fighting over access to.
That's under socialism where you're getting free food, but you
Exactly.
can't do anything about
Exactly.
it. Like
Exactly. Where
you're in the wrong
that
universe here.
exactly. I'm reading that going just like, what? This,
Wow.
you know, the guy had plenty of other, I think, perfectly valid points about, yeah, there is such thing as corporate corruption and all of that, and lots of businesses being in bed with government. Yeah, sure.
Oh, sure.
I'm happy to I'm happy to have that, you know, those discussions and admit those things, no problem whatsoever. But that's not the way that the system. Certainly not the way the system has to work, and it works better when it doesn't. But it works better without the corruption, as most things do. Now, now, you are a conservative, and you are also a Christian, and you
Mhm.
are on the modern college campus.
Yeah.
How's that working out?
Oh, it's so much fun. I've got so many stories for you.
Oh,
Um,
lay 'em on us.
oh my word. Oh, actually, I should mention my brother is at a Christian college.
Oh, really?
And he had a professor who started ranting about how, or no. Um, in the chapel, I believe it was, I think his, what was it exactly? I think his professor did it, and she started talking about how about Black Lives Matter and about love, and my brother was aghast. He's like, "That's not how it works. Like you're using a tagline, and it doesn't mean what it says it means." And
Love those.
yeah, um, love trumps hate. Now I'll stab you to death. No, no, that's not how it works. um,
Oh boy.
oh my word. There was during the 2016 election.
Yes. Yeah. I'm sure that was lots of fun.
Those are my favorite stories because all working up to it, all the professors were, and oh my goodness, the students were nigh unbearable because it was going to be Hillary. It was
Oh
going
well,
to be Hillary.
we all knew that, right?
Yeah, it was going to be Hillary. Just had to uh, endure all. Oh yeah, and did you hear about the stupid thing that Trump said again? And I had an art class during that time,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if this was a good idea or not. I should have said something on the last day of class, but I didn't. Um, I mean, politics is such a huge thing for me. It was like getting built up in my system. I wanted to talk so badly with someone who disagreed with me about
Uh-huh.
politics.
Right.
I was willing to not say I was a conservative. And so I'd say, like, I wanted to talk with these people so bad. And 3 hour art classes, you have a lot of time to draw, and there's not a lot of lecture.
Mm-hmm.
So there was one girl especially I just talk with, and I think and I got a really good insight on her views,
Uh-huh.
and I think I was able to kind of, well, what about this? And that doesn't always work. And I think I kind of made myself out to be a Bernie Sanders supporter because um, I was like, well, I can't really do anything about it now. My guy already lost, Ted Cruz. So I was like, there's nothing I can do
Oh, that's
now.
funny.
I'm already out of the ring. Um, and so, they just took me as a Bernie, and we had so many interesting discussions. Um, and oh my word, so much I could tell you. On the last day,
Uh-huh.
the day after the election, I came to class, and everyone was furious. Everyone was ranting. And the girl that I had been talking with, she just finally just blew up, and she's like, anyone who voted for Trump is stupid. And I didn't say anything. And my professor was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. He had not been involved in any of this before, but
Uh-huh.
he's like, well, I don't know if you should, and I was like, it's okay. We're in a bubble here. Everyone shares the same opinions.
Wait, what now?
Nobody predicted me. It was a little freaky. I was like, no, it's okay. Everyone shares the same opinions here. We're all in a bubble. I literally used the word bubble, and no one freaked out a little bit. I was a little terrified that no one was more freaked out.
Wow. Like,
Yeah,
wait a minute. You said the word bubble or someone else did?
I did. I
You did.
said,
You
"Oh,
did.
well, it's okay. We're all safe here. We can say whatever we want." Um like that. We're just in a bubble.
And nobody challenged this at all.
No one. I was
Oh.
like, that was a dead giveaway, guys. No one did anything.
Oh
Um,
man, that's funny.
in that same art class, actually, well, I'll save that for another time. Uh, in my other class, that was the same day.
Uh-huh.
Um, my let's see, I think it was a poetry class or something, and the professor's like, I don't really feel like teaching today. Do you guys feel like listening today? She's like, no, I've
She's
been
very
teaching a long
distraught, I'm
time.
sure.
Oh, very. She's like, I've been teaching a long time. The last time I didn't feel like teaching was the day after 9/11. Guys, today is the day after 11/9. She compared Trump getting elected to 9/11. I was like, are you kidding me?
Today's
You've
the
been
day after
teaching
11/9.
this
Oh
long
my gosh, the
and you're just like,
melodrama.
oh my word, it was so real. It was like we've gone back in time. You're clearly 14 again and having a meltdown. There was a guy in the class who was like, she's like, did anyone cry? And he's like, I cried. I'm like, I'm so sorry for you. And she
Wow.
was from Canada. So she's like, anyone who wants to go to Canada, you can come with me. There were people who were like, yeah, I looked it up. It's just not going to work for me. And
Oh my
I,
gosh. This reminds me actually of a video that, of all people, it was on Trevor Noah's show. Uh, of all people, he did this. Will liberals survive the apocalypse? And it's really funny. It has one of their the reporters goes to a liberal prepper who's all like, "Yeah, you don't need a gun. Oh, what do you have? I have a katana." And it looks like the worst stereotype of like a 30-plus-year-old SJW who like lives in his mom's basement. It was really funny. And then she goes over to like the right-wing prepper and with her katana and everything. He's like, yeah, that's a great idea. I would just shoot you.
I
Oh,
don't know. I think you'd be kind of surprised because you might get some liberals coming and just breaking down doors at, like people you thought were like relatively sane at least, except with like politics, they'd just be looting places and be like, "Oh, alms for the poor." Okay, thank
well,
you very
that's what the
much.
landmines are for. So,
Well, I mean, come on, socialism. If socialism is theft, you can think this out quite easily.
oh yeah. So yes, last night
Have
you were telling me about
conscience.
you're telling me about a class you had to take called climate change fiction,
That
which
is correct.
just the title itself is just rife with trolling possibilities.
Oh my word. And what was hilarious is it wasn't the official title of the class. We came the first day and I couldn't get out of it. It was the last time of the last day. So I would have had to take a new class where I hadn't taken the first class, and I'm sorry. I like my grades. Um and oh my word. It was the first day we were shown a video of what is the one by Leo DiCaprio? It was
Oh
something about
no,
it
go
was a
ahead.
video. It was like a 2 hour long video, hour and a half long video, but it wasn't like a documentary. It was filmed very much like something you'd see out of Hollywood because it was out of
Right,
Hollywood. It
of
was
course.
masterfully done. Like the
Okay,
cuts, the uh, emotional appeals, it was all brilliant. And I get you could try and change my mind if you didn't go so overboard with it. Like I'm
mm-hmm.
open to new stuff, but when you're shoving it down my throat, I tend to not take it well. Um,
Right.
in the video, they specifically called out Republican politicians and Republican hosts.
Oh, you
Um,
froze up there for a second.
Oh, sorry. Um, like Rush Limbaugh, maybe I think there may have been Mark Levin, called out specific people on the right as like, you know, detrimental to climate change. And they promoted literal Democratic candidates at the time. And it was incredible. And um, uh, so that was just the first day. We read articles like climate change versus um, capitalism.
Uh-huh.
And we read, I mean, there was so much like specifically left wing, like not even trying to hide it, but like left wing propaganda, literally. And there was, uh, um, um, we read all kinds of apocalyptic novels, that, and they were all really gruesome, and I would not recommend them to anybody. Um,
Gotcha. So
yeah,
they
it was,
basically just inundated you with fiction, whether it's a documentary by DiCaprio or a John Scalzi sci-fi story that's meant to just get you terrified that the world's going to end in 12 years, to bring up AOC again.
yeah. And he said, like, well, here's the thing is saying the facts over and over again aren't working. We need to start taking this in our own hands and put it to a, we need to start looking at this more creatively. And I was like, you know, that's exactly what conservatives need to start doing.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that is severely lacking in the conservative sphere.
It seems to
Just
be there's at least a growing recognition of that fact.
Yeah, that's what's great. I love that.
Yeah, the idea that we do have to craft stories. We do have to we have to sell. We do have to
Yeah.
sell the ideas a little bit. We can't just be like, well, socialism doesn't work because of this graph over here. It, you do have to kind of trot out the images of right now Venezuela and somebody carving up a
Hmm.
giraffe in the middle of the street. Because
And I love some of the new political podcasters who are just doing a great job with this. I
mm-hmm.
mean, Crowder is brilliant with this. He
Yes.
is the absolute trailblazer for conservative media.
Oh yeah.
And of course, Daily Wire is great at this too. And if you break it down, it's amazing because they start with like the really, they start with clickbaity, interesting things. Like there and I love like Andrew Clavin's little monologue at the beginning of his thing sometimes. Like that
Yes.
always gets you, and it's a story, it's comedy, it's interesting. And as you go on, it gets deeper and deeper, and by the end you're talking about like philosophy, religion, solving people's literal life problems. Like that's
Yep.
awesome. Like
Oh
that's
yeah.
what conservatism is politics is the most surface thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
Politics is red or blue. And it's like, well, why do you like red over blue? And there's so much more
Yes, it gets
underneath
down
that.
into it gets down deep into the culture and how you actually see the world, not just in a not just as it relates to how you vote for, but how you actually live your everyday
Yeah.
life is what it really, where it really matters. Uh, and yeah, I think conservatives are finally getting to the point where not only are we recognizing it, but we're actually starting to put it into action. That we actually have to sell our idea better. That
Yeah.
we do have to appeal to people's emotions, because that's part of how people are. People aren't just rational computers. People are
Yeah.
also it, heavily influenced by emotion, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, so long as we remember not to let it run away with us. And I would say Clavin, at least as Clavin, is one of is definitely one of the best people doing that. I would say, as far as that goes, he's the best one at the Daily Wire for that.
He's so awesome.
Oh yeah,
The whole Daily Wire crew is just
agreed.
I've found a new appreciation for Jeremy Boring too. Wow. Just all those people there are incredible.
Yes, I would definitely agree. Even my oldest daughter, she loves Clavin. She loves Shapiro too. She's a huge Shapiro fan. We were already kind of planning on going to the March for Life back in January. When I told her that Shapiro was going to be speaking, she just started fangirling all over the place. It was embarrassing. And but yeah, she loves Clavin too, and she doesn't get to listen to that terribly often because usually she gets it whenever we're driving around in the car and I haven't quite finished up with my podcast for the day. But yes, her opening monologues she also finds hilarious. And then of course she also loves Crowder. We actually watch Crowder together just about every night. There's sometimes when I'm like when he gets a little in certain directions, I'm like,
how about we skip this part?
Maybe this is bad parenting right now.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to listen to it out loud because I'm still with my mom and dad, and
right.
I've got little people here.
You've got the young'uns, yes.
Yeah. Although I'm older than I look.
Yeah, you're like kind of look to see who's listening, who's watching. Okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
But I don't let normally the next two oldest sit and watch because no.
But it is more fun to have someone with you so I can understand that. Like
it is definitely a lot more fun.
My dad will sometimes have us watch movies where it's like, or when we were kids, he would have us watch movies where it was like, I mean, my mom was like, this was a good plan, but when I watched Lord of the Rings at like 7 or so, my mom was like, I don't know if that's a good idea. Well, it was obviously fine, but it would have bothered my sisters.
Right. The orcs and the Balrog, a little scary. I can see that.
They don't even like Smeagol. I'm like, come on.
How do you not like Smeagol?
I know. Well, anyway, okay.
Yeah, a little bit of a tangent there, but that's okay. It's never a bad tangent if you're talking about Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings is okay.
Yeah,
Laurel will back me up.
You know what? Okay, exactly. Yes, she may. She may be the biggest Lord of the Rings fan on Twitter.
Oh my word, she's amazing.
Yes, I would agree. In fact, I actually won a giveaway for a couple of her sketches.
Oh, lucky!
Oh my gosh, yeah. In fact, hold on a second, I'll grab them.
Okay.
I haven't properly framed them yet. I need to. Okay, so these things are amazing. Like they looked great online, but in person, they were just they just blew me away. I don't know how well you can see that. She's got a Bilbo.
I remember that one.
Yeah, and then there's a matching Frodo as well.
I think I remember that too. Oh yeah, I remember that.
But yeah, so that that giveaway from Laurel and just amazing. So she is so talented. It's disgusting is what it is. I mean, I'm not sure anyone should be allowed to have that level of talent.
You should not. Laurel, be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, no kidding.
All normal people are unable to do art, and some of us can't help but do art because we probably have ADD or ADHD or something.
Okay, I was gonna say you actually do art.
I do art, but I'm not good at it.
I've seen your art. You're pretty good at it.
I try, but I'm not anywhere where Laurel is.
Laurel is on a different plane. I'm not gonna deny that. She's like she's like up here where most, where angels fear to tread. But you know,
That's
but
so
at the same
accurate.
time, that's right. You also do some artwork. Now, do you do that on any sort of, I guess I should say, amateur level yet, or is this is something
I
you dabble on occasion?
I dabble mostly. Actually, I didn't even mean to do this, but I accidentally brought my sketchbook in here.
Oh,
That I use it for church because I cannot focus. I don't have my sketchbook, which is horrible, but it's true. Um, I have um I'm working on I've basically finished
hmm,
your artwork
yep,
because I'm trying to get into digital media. I
hmm,
was having a horrible time doing it through the school, so I finally just bought it on my own. Um, so here's like this was something that I was doing. If you can see that,
yeah, yeah.
I've gotten better.
No,
I've
that is
gotten better
that's
since
quite
I
good
was
actually.
in middle school, high school. But it,
No, that will also thrill my 10-year-old who has artistic tendencies herself, and she's pretty good. Now,
oh my goodness, don't ever let her say that she's not good at art because
oh, she knows she's good.
good, because
It's true.
my sisters beat up themselves all the time, and I'm like, you girls are better than I am. Get over it.
Now, actually, before we go, since we brought up Lord of the Rings, what's your prediction for the Amazon Prime series?
I didn't know about that.
You didn't know about this?
Um,
Oh, yeah,
no.
Amazon is doing a Lord of the Rings series, and it nobody really knows what it is. Speculation for a while that it was going to be young Aragorn, but it doesn't look like that. Maybe something from the Silmarillion, possibly, maybe, but really, no one knows.
So,
They released They released like a teaser for it recently, but it didn't really reveal anything.
I'm I'm obviously skeptical. I don't think that they can I don't know because they did a really great job with The Hobbit. They really did. Is it the
Oh,
same? Well, I mean, they did. It was not as good. Okay. It was not as good, but there were a lot of things that were just really, really beautifully done. How's that?
maybe I'll grant that there's a few laudable things in that. Well, Crystal and I, we did a 3 hour debate on the Hobbit movies a few
Mm,
months ago. She took the pro side, I took the con side, and
you won.
oh well, that's still probably a matter up for debate. But let's just say I'm very con when it comes to I'm not a fan of the Hobbit movies.
I
I've
mean,
so desperately wanted to be.
here's the thing. You watch Lord of the Rings. That's number one. No
Hmm.
one is saying The Hobbit is better than Lord of the Rings.
And amen to that. Because if they did, they
So,
would be so wrong.
but could you tell someone, oh, don't watch The Hobbit?
Yes, I could. I
What?
have. I
No,
have said that. Yes.
no.
It's easy, as a matter of fact. It's true.
But
Sorry. I'm
I
sorry.
got like, okay, fine. Be
Well, is
that
this
way.
gonna be is this gonna be one of those? Oh, I found someone who disagrees with me. Let's go.
No, that's not one of these times. This is one of those times where I've marked you as an enemy and we're moving on.
Oh man, I'm almost sorry about that, but my convictions on this are
No, no,
pretty
don't
strong.
worry.
So
You're cool, man. I mean, I haven't. I only watched it like I think I only watched each movie once or maybe twice. I think just one.
See,
So obviously, like I said, it's not like it's
right.
anything
No,
like Lord of the Rings.
no. My
It's,
put it this way: the first movie when it came out, I was like, I was super geek for it. I was like, yes. I went out of my way to like get the 3D IMAX and everything.
oh,
And I came out, I was like, that's all right. And I was like,
well,
parts of it were good, parts of it not so much. And when Desolation of Smaug came
see, just
out,
don't do that for the Amazon Prime.
what's that?
Don't do that for the Amazon thing.
Then, yeah.
Don't do for the new.
No. I'm
Just
just curious. I'll be
always be
interested to see what it
skeptical.
looks like. Oh, I'm going to be very skeptical.
Okay.
With the Hobbit, I didn't think I would need to be because it was from the same people who did the Lord of the Rings movies. I was like, yeah, cool. But no, see, Desolation of Smaug came out, and I went to go see it, but I didn't worry about 3D IMAX or anything like that. Just regular screen's good enough, and I hated that movie. So, within my circle of my internet friends, my hatred of Desolation of Smaug became something of a matter of
Oh,
legend, and
that's tragic.
it
I'm
was.
sorry.
And then when the Battle of the Five Armies came out, I literally just waited for it to come out on Amazon. I rented it and I fell asleep watching it.
Ouch.
Just my interest was just gone by that point, which is
Whereas,
saying
like
something because I've read the books so many times.
Lord of the Rings, whenever I hear that opening song concerning hobbits, I have a longing for I have a longing for home,
Yep.
but it's not my home.
Yeah, I
It's a
completely agree. That was
it's a
done masterfully.
oh my
Masterfully.
word. It's so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, there's so much I could say about how gorgeous and beautiful and perfectly done it
Mm-hmm.
is.
Yep. Yeah, you hear that and it's like, I want to move to the country and plow a field or something.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like I should like smoke some pipe weed, milk
And
a
Gandalf's
cow.
like,
I don't know.
all right, Frodo, let's take you to a barren volcano land.
Yeah, sounds like a plan. Why not? But okay,
Yeah.
we are we are about out of time here. So
All right.
to kind of bring it back, what would your advice be to especially the people that are about your age and in college and they're disturbed by the current political climate and everything? What would be your advice be to them?
Oh, wow. Well, I would definitely say talk to people. Talk to people who know more than you
Mm-hmm.
on both sides. Well, talk to people about your level on I don't know. Just talk to people, watch Andrew Clavin every day. No. you know, that's just a recommendation. um,
It's a
but
good recommendation. So talk to people, have discussions, don't
and
clam up.
yeah, and don't be offended when people, I mean, you can show offense, but be willing to work through things. When people say, you are a horrible, evil Nazi. And it's like,
It's my
why do you
favorite
think that?
word. And I'm gonna hazard a
And
guess
yeah,
that I'm gonna hazard a guess that you've been called a Nazi before.
no, I've been
No?
called a couple of other things.
Wow.
Um,
You gotta wear that like a badge of honor when it happens.
I was only, I mean, I don't count, I don't think I've really been called names on Twitter, really.
That's good.
I was defending my
You're
British trip.
very
I got some hate for that with from an anti-Semite, but that was cool.
oh well, that's always the
You can't
best.
hate on crazy people because they can't. What can you do? They're just you can't help them.
No,
Um,
I'm afraid not.
yeah, I was actually I don't get into a lot of things where I get called nasty things usually. I'm usually pretty level-headed, so and I look like a really super sweet person, so people don't want to call me horrible names. The worst I was called was through a letter from uh someone I talked to at college. Told her roommate, no. She told her friend and her friend's roommate sent me a really nasty letter. I actually put that up on Twitter. Um
Oh, I think I remember that. Yes.
yeah, about the slut walk.
Oh yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yes. This is ringing a bell. Definitely.
I was only called racist once when I was a teen for saying this was kind of funny. Um, Playing a game with my cousins and their cousins, and picked up one of the items, and I was like, it was a game of Clue, and it was like, oh, this, what even is this item? And I'm like, you can't even tell what it is. It's so cheaply made. Oh, made in China. It makes sense. She goes, that's racist. And we kept trying to explain, what do you, that's not, that's racist. Like she wouldn't stop. We couldn't say anything. My cousin's like, well, see, it's about how they're governed. That's racist. Okay, we see you've been in the liberal education system for a long time now.
You clearly are a model student.
It was, you should go into politics. You will get an internship under AOC.
Oh yes. And on that note, everybody, I think it's time to wrap things up. Don't be a model student of the progressive educational system, and make sure, like Bethany says, talk to people, have the disagreements, have the discussions,
Get involved with stuff on campuses.
get involved. Yes, there are lots of groups out there. There's, for example, Young Americans for Freedom. Is that it? I think I've got that right. They bring the Daily Wire guys all over the country. They're a great organization. There's lots of others out there. Join up, get involved, find other people that you can discuss with, whether it's a open-minded liberal or a fellow conservative or libertarian, people that you can sit down and discuss with, so you don't feel like you're totally isolated and alone, because right there is just about the worst thing in the world, feeling like it's just you versus the whole world. And it ain't like that. It doesn't have to be that way. You have kindred spirits out there. You just gotta find them.
Pretending to be Bernie supporters. No, I shouldn't have done that. Yes.
But it can be a little fun too.
We're out there.
Yes.
We'll drop clues like wearing Louder with Crowder t-shirts to our climate change fiction class. Woo, that was fun.
That's not so much a clue. That's kind of like a bullhorn.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, everybody, stay tuned, and we'll be back next week, probably with another great guest. So until then, keep fighting the good fight. And I just need to find the off button here.